Recording in progress. Okay, let's play some yoga. Alrighty, so you can push play on playlist 2 now, and we'll start somewhere comfortable and cushy and good for you to start your morning. Sitting, moving the fleshy bits out of the way, and pushing play now. And we'll close down our eyes. And we'll sit up nice and tall. And we'll take this time to focus on our breath. Noticing where your body is this morning, noticing how you're feeling. Noticing any areas that might not be quite ready to move or do anything, and just sending awareness and love and attention into those areas. I see you, body. Maybe even curling your lips into a gentle smile, softening your eyes behind your lids. And slowly begin lengthening your breath. So inhaling into your chest, into your ribs, and finally into your belly, stretching your belly button out away from your spine. And then as you exhale, doing so from your belly, from your ribs, and from your chest. And again, into your heart, into your chest space, into your ribs, into your belly. And then exhaling from your belly, from your ribs, and from your chest. Continue breathing this way as if you're unzipping a zipper on your sweater, down to your belly, and then exhaling as if you're zipping it back up from your belly to your ribs and your chest. And we'll start to bring in tiny little movements, maybe just gently swaying side to side, or forward and back, or maybe doing a complete circle with your torso, not making these movements big or overly expressive, just slowly beginning to tell your body that you've got this, you're in charge, you can move it around safely, and you can be gentle. And when you're ready, slowly begin making those movements a little bit bigger. Maybe swaying a little bit further to each side, or rocking forward and back a little bit more pronounced. Maybe even making some big circles with the torso, starting to warm up your spine. There's no wrong way to get into your body in a mental way or from a consciousness standpoint. We start to bring in movement to make ourselves more aware of how we're feeling and what's going on. And maybe our swaying turns into figure eights with our shoulders as we start to dance it out. Still seated, but moving in a way that's a little bit more playful to you. Moving from a place of comfort, rocking in comfort, into a place of playful exploration as you wiggle around. Maybe your shoulders get involved with little circles or big circles. And then we'll slowly bring those exploratory movements into stillness. And just pausing here, noticing any subtle differences between now and that little bit earlier when we first sat down. And we'll gently blink our eyes open and start to get into our shoulders. So squeezing our shoulders forward, up, back, and down. We'll roll them out. Big circles. Being really mindful to engage your shoulder all the way around. Seeing if you can massage out the top of your spine with your shoulder blades as you roll them forward. And then backwards. And we'll keep our sit bones right where they are as we start to create an S shape with our body from side to side. So rolling out, starting with the hips, the ribs, the chest, the shoulder, the head follows last. Thinking really fluid and wiggly from side to side. And keep that going side to side to side, waking up through the oblique, leading with the rib cage, leading with the chest. You can get your arms involved. And then we'll bring that back to center, back to stillness, and do the same thing, but front to back. So when we're moving here, we're really leading with the belly, ribs, chest, chin, forehead, back of the belly, back of the ribs, back of the chest, neck, head. So thinking again, that S-shaped flowy thing happening forward and back. The arms can get involved, rolling forward and back, waking up our spine, we're waking up our core, which wraps all the way around our body. We are here. This is what we're doing right now, and it's good. And then the next time we go forward, we're going to bring our hands all the way up, big stretch up towards the ceiling. Fill yourself with breath. And then as you exhale, use your exhale to bring your abdomen in towards the spine, or your belly button towards the spine and up without sucking in your belly. We're just engaging and solidifying our straightness in our spine. Big breath here. Still moving that breath, the belly with the breath. And then we'll exhale, taking the right hand, twisting it to the left knee, reaching the left hand behind the back to the ground, using it to help prop us up as we gently start to spiral clockwise. So away from our twist, in towards center. And then next time we inhale, we'll bring it back to center, big stretch up. And then exhaling that left hand to the outside of the right knee, right hand behind the spine, big spiral towards the left or counterclockwise. And then we'll inhale, come back to center, press our palms together. And we'll exhale, bring them down to heart center, pressing our hands into one another. We'll push our right hand into our left. Both hands go over towards the left shoulder, keeping the elbows up high, stretching out the wrists. You can tip your fingers forward and back here, making sure your shoulders are shucking up towards your ears. You want to keep them nice and long or nice and down so that your neck has lots of space to move. Rolling out through the wrist, or you can even do a complete circle, rolling the backs of the hands together. And then we'll bring that back to center, invert here, and wiggle forward and back with those wrists, back to the hands, rubbing up against one another, getting a little massage for the backs of the wrists. And then we'll invert those hands back to regular big breath. And exhale, both hands over to the right side. Elbows stay nice and high. Back stays nice and straight. We're not leaning to the right. We're just pressing our arms over. So we're getting nice lift through our elbows. Nice stretch through our wrists. You can do the forward and back with your fingertips here. And then coming into the backs of the hands. And then we'll give those a wiggle shake. Shake, 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 shake your arms. Shake it out, wiggle wobble them, flap your wrists, hands up and down, getting the blood moving. And then we'll come forward onto all fours, coming into our tabletop position. We'll catch up with our breath, hands underneath the shoulders, toes pointed, knees underneath of the hips. Back is nice and flat, so not too dipped, not too rounded, somewhere in between. Shoulder blades are squeezed down and back, and we're taking breath here. We're going to plant down into our right hand and our left knee, taking our right leg, extending it out long, and our left hand and extending it out long. We're going to inhale, lift up high, and exhale, round to the spine, bringing the elbow to the knee. We'll inhale, lift, lifting as high as we can, and exhale, elbow to knee. We'll inhale, reach and lengthen and lift. Exhale, elbow to knee. And then we'll lower that back down, switching sides. So left hand planted, right knee planted, left leg back, right hand forward. Big breaths, inhaling to lift as high as you can. Exhaling, rounding the spine, elbow to knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lift, letting the belly drop for this. And then as you exhale, pulling that belly up so you can reach your elbow to your knee. One last time, reach and exhale down. Hands back to the ground, toes back to the ground, flip those toes, hips come up and high. Pressing back into downward facing dog. We'll take that dog for a walk, bending into opposite knees. And then we'll take our toes, put them a little bit closer together, pressing down through those heels. We're going to ground down through the heels, give our booty a little shake here. Pressing into the palm of the hand by the pointer finger, shoulders down away from the ears, grounding through the heels, getting a nice shake going. And we'll keep that shake going as much as we can as we slowly begin to walk our feet up towards our hands. Bringing our feet together at the top of our mat, we'll bend deep into a seated position as we bring our hands up, coming into chair pose. And we'll do tiny little pulses here, biceps up to the ears. We're keeping lifted through the chest, tiny little pulses into our knees. And then we'll bring our hands down to our knees, sitting a little bit lower in our chair and start drawing circles with our knees around our ankles. So doing your best to keep your feet planted into the ground. We're drawing circles around our ankles with our knees. We're encouraging ankle mobility and knee stability as we move them around in places that we might not normally move them. So warming them up, we're going to keep doing big circles here with our knees. And the other way, we're going back and forth and the other way. Doing about 4 each direction before changing to the other side. And one more set each direction. And then we'll straighten out through those legs, lower our hands down, forward fold. Then we'll tuck that tailbone under, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Coming to stand at the top of our mat or middle of your mat. We can step our hands or feet out a little bit wider than hip distance. We're going to let our hands hang at our sides as we slowly begin to twirl them like this, going side to side, letting your arms be loose, letting your hands slap your body as you twist side to side. Coming back to center, we'll step our feet a little bit wider than our mat, our heels on our mat, toes pointed outwards. We're going to sit down into a squat. So coming all the way down here into our squat, and we're going to tick-tock side to side. If your heels are on the ground, that's great. If not, that's also great. Don't worry about it too much. We're more so in it for holding ourselves in this position. keeping our chest as high as we can. Elbows can be on the inside of the knees, helping them stay open, tick-tocking side to side. And we'll put our hands down on the ground, draw a big circle with the hips here. It doesn't matter what direction you're going because we're going to switch and go the other way anyway. So just wiggling it out side to side, up and down, and then change direction. So rolling out through those hips. And then next time we're down, we're gonna stay there, lowering our left knee to the mat. Our right leg comes all the way back, coming into almost a pigeon, but our left leg is straight. Left toes are pointed. We're up on the shin of the left leg. Fingertips are pointed. We're getting a nice stretch to the right side body, and we're gonna bop into the right hip. So go ahead and press into in and out of the right hip. And then we'll slowly lay the chest down onto the front of the leg as we bring that right leg up. Tucking the legs underneath of the body will hover the abdomen, hover the torso, hover the chest, little pulses here. So rounding into the spine, we're pulsing into the heart space. And then we'll do some circles here, keeping that belly engaged, tailbone tucked under, and change direction. With your circles here. And we'll leave that right shin on the ground as we take the left leg and slide it back top of the foot on the ground. Toes pointed in the same direction. And we'll tick or bop into that left hip. So just leaning into the left hip, pressing that left hip down towards the ground. And then we'll plant our hands down on the ground as we slide that right foot back to meet, coming down onto our forearms. And we're rolling out the tops of our legs here. So hips go side to side. Massaging the quads on the ground, side to side to side. And then we'll take those elbows nice and wide. A diamond with our hands comes to the mat. Our forehead goes and lays in that diamond, and we're hamstring curling. So curling the heels up towards the bum, flexing the feet as you go up. And then next time we lower those feet, we're gonna leave them there, tucking our toes, bringing our hands underneath of our shoulders. Big breath fills you up. Exhale fully. And on your next inhale, slowly press yourself up through a push-up to plank. We'll take our fingers nice and wide, so our pointer fingers parallel to the side of our mat. We'll take our right knee to our left shoulder and back. Right knee, left elbow, sorry. Knees to elbows, opposite elbows, walking it out. So mountain climbing, but with a cross body with the knee. Nice and slow. We're not winning any races today. We're trying to. And then we'll press those hips up and back, coming back to downward dog, giving your booty another little shake, grounding into your heels. Getting those fleshy bits being fleshy and moving around. And then we'll plant into the left hand, looking back at the left ankle. We'll take our right hand, reach back for that left ankle, looking underneath the left armpit. Keep breathing. Maybe give your head a little wiggle side to side. You return that right hand back and we'll switch sides. So looking at the right ankle, taking the left hand, reaching back for that left ankle, twisting high underneath the armpit. Keep breathing, keep twisting. And then we'll return that left hand up, pressing back into our downward facing dog, grounding into the left leg. We'll take a breath, lifting the right leg up into the air. And then we'll look up between our hands, bend our right knee and bring it up between our hands underneath our nose of our mat and slightly over to the right. Pressing back into our left heel. We'll take our arms back, stroke them up, carrying our chest with it as we take some nice big back strokes with both hands, pinky fingers leading. Keep those circles big, keep them going into the shoulders. And then next time we cycle them back, we'll bring them to heart center in prayer. Taking a big breath, we'll fill ourselves up. And as we exhale, we'll twist to the right, left elbow comes to the outside of the right knee. Pressing here, little pulses into the front knee. Make sure you can wiggle those front toes. And yeah, wiggle the front toes. Tiny little pulses, keeps your muscles activated and working. We'll take that left hand, reach it for the inside of the right foot as we reach our right hand overhead. And then, so for a revolved side angle. Breathing here. We'll take that right arm to lead, cartwheel us back. Right hand comes to the left side, left hand comes up. And then a big inhale starts the movement, bringing your left hand and right hand back to the ground. We'll slide that right leg back to meet the left, coming back to downward facing dog, bending one knee at a time, but we're gonna bend those knees across the body. So twisting your hips as you bend your knees, making it really exaggerated movement. And then we'll inhale, lift that left leg high, looking up between the hands, bending that left knee, stepping it through, rolling our big circle with our arms, brings us up to our warrior one or to our high lunge as we backstroke, our hands leading with the pinky fingers. So back to the hands facing one another in front of your body as you cycle them back. And then next time they come back, brings our hands to center as we sit lower in our lunge. Right hand to the outside, right elbow to the outside of the left knee, pressing the palms together, twisting to the left. Gentle little pulses into that front knee. Make sure you can wiggle those front toes. If you're falling over, just widening your stance a little can help. And we'll take that right hand, step it down beside the left leg as we reach, the left hand comes up high, and then reaching it to the front of your space, forward and back. And then we'll bring that left hand back down on the outside of the left knee, sliding, or outside the left leg, sliding that left leg back, coming back into our down dog. We'll tap opposite hands to opposite feet, walking back one at a time. So just reaching back for opposite shins, kind of marching it out with your down dog. And then we'll bring our hips forward, coming into plank, lowering down our knees, pointing our toes, holding a modified plank. Fingers are nice and wide, catching up with your breath. We're gonna bend our elbows out to the side and lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keeping our elbows wide to the side, we'll push ourselves back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time bending the elbows close to the body. We'll lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Catch your breath, fill yourself up. And then as you exhale, pushing yourself back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing your hips up and back, coming to rest in child's pose. Maybe bringing those hands back to meet the ankles, rolling out those wrists, forehead to the mat or above the mat. If your forehead touches your mat, double dog dare you to roll your head side to side, massaging out the top of your eyebrow, wiping some sweat off. It ain't no thing. And then we'll roll our arms forward as we come up out of our child's pose, taking our left leg with us and flipping our back foot, opening to warrior 2. So right hand comes back, left hand comes forward, sitting down into the warrior. We're gonna take our hands, scoop the inside, scoop the outside. So scooping it forward and back. And then we'll take that left leg, pivot, that's the word, pivot it on our heels so our foot comes towards the front of the room. As we bend into the right leg, left hand comes down, right hand comes all the way up and over. So right knee is bent, left leg is straight. And then we'll cartwheel back, switching over into the other side, right hand, right leg, bending into the left knee, left hand comes up and over to the right. And then we'll transfer our weight over to the right leg, pivoting that heel inward, coming into warrior 2 on the other side, left hand extended back, right hand comes scooped inside, outside of the thigh. And then taking that heel, pivoting your toes to the front, we are going side to side. So into our goddess squat or ninja squat, side to side. You can even take your hands, make them big and extensive. Opposite arm up. Keeping that going. 3 more times. 2, 1, and we'll come back to center, heels come in, sitting down, coming into our goddess squat. So knees are above the ankles and shins. And we're doing gentle little transfers side to side. And then finding a place where we can releve the right leg. So lifting and lowering through the right heel. And then switching sides, lifting and lowering through the left. And then we'll take our hands to our hips. We'll inhale, lift ourselves up nice and straight, straightening through the legs. And then hinging at the hips, our toes come forward and we fold forward. Our left hand's gonna go down to the ground right underneath of our heart as our right hand lifts up towards the sky. And then our right hand comes back down and left hand comes up, lifting up to the sky. We're gonna fold that left arm back down, tucking our thumbs into the crooks of our elbows. Figure 8 with our elbows. Let your body hang here side to side. And then releasing your hands down, bringing your feet just one little foot width in closer together. Slight bend to the knees, lifting the torso. We're gonna ground down into our pinky toes and give it a shake side to side to side. And then we're gonna reach down towards the mat, pivoting to the top of our mat if you're not there, or staying there if you are. Stepping our right foot comes forward, toes pointing forward, heels pointing back, sitting down into our chair, tucking our tailbone under, rolling up one vertebrae at a time, coming to that back. And then we'll exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. We'll inhale, hands come up the shins, chest lift, flat back. And exhale, fold down. We'll plant our hands, jump them back into our plank, pressing down through our heels. And we'll give a tick-tock of our hips side to side. And then a circle of our hips here. So we're circling our hips in our plank. We're so strong. We're so focused. We're breathing. And we're not taking ourselves too seriously. Rolling, we're circling side to side to side. And we'll bend down through the knees, hips come back. And little pulses here. So pulsing the knees towards the mat, but not touching. We're in puppy pose or crouching tiger pose. And then we're going to plant into our hands, play with the ideas of jumping our hips up high. So little hops here. And then we'll lower our knees, come wide, our toes come back, hips come back, pressing down into a wide-legged child's pose. Sway your chest side to side. And then pressing the hips down into the heels, we'll roll up one vertebrae at a time. Our knees are wide, our hips are on our heels. We're sitting up nice and tall, hands to the knees. And we'll lift our hips up slightly. Hands can be on the hips, on the knees, in prayer, out to the side, cactus, wiggle wobbling. We're gonna lift our hips. So lift and lower our hips side to side. So we're lifting and lowering. Figure 8 with our hips, side to side. And then we're gonna change the direction of that. So now your hips are lowering and lifting. It's slightly different. It's all in your mind, but it's slightly different. And then we're gonna keep those knees where they are. We're gonna step up with our right and come forward and back down. We're gonna go up with our left, forward and down, up with the right and down, up with the left and down, up with the right and down, up left and down. We're gonna plant down into our knees, lifting and lowering through the torso, keeping that going for a couple breaths. Lifting and lowering here. And then we're gonna lower ourselves down so that we're sitting with our shins in box. So one shin is across the front, one is down the side. Feet are flexed. And we're gonna take our left elbow towards our left knee. Our right hand comes behind our back. And as we swing our right arm around, we're gonna bring our right foot with it, kicking it forward, switching legs, swinging the left arm back, right elbow to the knee. We'll swing it around to kick and down, swinging around, making it fluid for you. Switch and down. First you get good, then you get fast. So not trying to rush it, but making it as fluid as you can. Slowly picking up the speed as you get more comfortable with the movement, swinging your legs around. And next time both feet are up, we're gonna keep them there and we're gonna kick them side to side. So straightening out through the legs, engaging through the core, one leg at a time, kick, kick, kick. Bringing that right shin to the mat, our left one comes all the way back and down. We're reaching down and forward, pulsing our chest over top of our knee, putting a nice stretch through the back of the glutes. And then we'll take that left leg, swing it around, switch it for the right leg, comes back, leaning over our left leg, tiny little pulses here. And then taking that right leg, swinging it around, switching the left, coming all the way to land on your belly. We'll plant our hands underneath of our elbows, point our toes down into the ground, roll up one vertebrae at a time, coming into high heel, and then lowering back down. So we're lifting and lowering, thinking like a loose rope or a piece of seaweed with the spine, rolling forward and back. And then next time we go up, we're gonna flip our toes and go up into downward dog. And we're gonna slowly walk 1 foot at a time, like you're walking a tightrope up the center of your mat, coming all the way up to stand. Toes pointed towards the front of the room, hands come to the hips, leading with the chest, leading with the nose, leading with the chin, coming to stand. We'll plant into our right foot. So heel plant, pinky toe side plant, fanning out the toes so you're nice and grounded into that right leg. We'll take our left leg, we're gonna draw a circle around our right leg. So coming all the way around and all the way back. So we're using our left toe to draw a circle around the left, or around the right leg, sorry. Coming around. Bending into that right knee to reach all the spaces you need to reach. Reach it, reach it, reach it. And then we're gonna bring that left knee into the chest, planting our foot on our thigh, either above or below the knee, opening the left knee to the side, sitting up nice or standing up nice and tall. Chin is slightly tucked, coming into our tree pose. So our hands can be here, hands can be on our hips, hands can be up. I encourage you, wherever you put your hands, to allow yourself to sway. So go ahead and move. Let those stabilizing muscles do their job, thinking the side to side S shape with our sign that we started our practice with this evening, today. It's not evening, it's definitely morning in my world right now. So wherever you are in your day, allowing yourself to explore what happens when you step outside of your little box. And letting that balance be great, letting it be exactly what it needs to be. If you fall out, laugh at it, give yourself a pat on the back, and come back up and try again. And from here, we'll purposely bring ourselves back into stillness to release that left knee. We'll take our left hand, bring it back, grabbing onto the left ankle, coming to a quad stretch, pressing our hand into our foot. We'll reach our hand forward. So we are sideways. Our thumb is pointed towards the ground. Our hand is into our foot. We're reaching our hand forward, coming into a modified dancer, making sure that you can still wiggle those front or standing toes and grip the mat slightly, pressing knee up towards the sky, keeping that left hip turned towards the ground, hand into foot, foot into hand, reaching. And then we'll inhale, come all the way up out of that one, taking our left leg forward, crossing it over our right knee, ankle to knee, sitting down into a figure 4 standing chair. And then we'll reach our hands up, biceps to ears, sitting way down into our figure 4 chair, folding at the hips, reaching for the ground, uncrossing that left leg as we step both feet back to plank. We'll take our left knee, bring it in towards the nose, and then send the left leg out under the right armpit, opening up onto the right foot, reaching that right arm up, coming into wild thing. Right arm can come ahead or stay up towards the sky. Little hip lifts and lowers here. Before we take that right hand back down to the ground, untwist that left leg, coming into downward facing dog. We'll walk our hands back to meet our feet at the back of our mat, stepping slightly forward with the left foot, lifting through the chest, coming to rise, bringing our right leg with us, pulling our knee into our chest before stepping it to the inside of our thigh, above or below our knee, opening up into our tree on the other side. So wiggling those standing toes and then gripping the mat with them slightly as a hiccup. Bringing your hands to our heart, following your breath, playing with the idea of stepping outside your box, and go ahead and sway your torso side to side. Get your hips involved. Let yourself fall out of balance on purpose. We want those little muscles. I think compensatory muscles were the ones I was talking about a while ago, but side to side, swaying it out on purpose, being messy, being wiggly, letting your body be strong by being consistently shifting and changing and moving and being adaptable, seeing if you can change directions with your sway, but exploring outside of the box that is standing still. And then we'll purposely bring ourselves to stillness so we can release our right knee. Right hand comes to the outside of the right ankle, stepping that right leg back, pausing here with our knees together and press down towards the ground, getting a nice stretch through the front of the legs. Before lifting through the chest, left arm comes up, pressing heel or foot into hand into foot, pulling yourself forward, tipping into this modified dancer, and keeping that right hip pushed down towards the ground as much as possible. If your knee starts to feel strange, just micro bend it. And then we'll inhale, come back up to center, taking that right leg, crossing it over the left, bending down into a figure 4 chair at the back of our mat. And then we'll inhale our ears to our biceps as we lift our arms up into the air, hinging at the hips. We'll reach for the ground. We'll uncross our right foot, putting our right foot back on the mat, walking our hands forward back to the top, stepping back into plank. We'll bring our hands inside of our shoulders, bending our elbows 90 degrees close to the body. We'll lower our knees, lower our chin, lower our chest to the mat, point the toes. We'll inhale for cobra, pressing the belly into the mat, seeing if you can lift your hands up off. We'll lift and lower, like sit up, but for your back here. So lifting and lowering, pressing the belly into the mat, keeping the tops of the feet pressed into the mat. And then we'll lower our head down. Our right arm comes out to the side, right cheek to the mat, left hand in under the left shoulder, bending at the left knee, rolling onto the right side. Right cheek to the mat, to the ground. Left hand comes behind the back. Nice stretch to the front of the right shoulder. And then we'll bring that left hand back down under the left shoulder, rolling back onto the belly. Right hand comes in under the right shoulder. Give it a wiggle side to side. It being your bum. Give her a shake. Left hand comes out to the left side, left cheek to the mat, bending into the right knee, coming up and over onto the left side here, right hand behind the body. Big breaths here, keep breathing. We'll bring that right hand back in front, rolling on to the belly again. Hands come underneath of the shoulders, flipping the toes, pressing the knees into the ground. We'll press up through tabletop and back down to child's pose. Nice stretch through the spine here. And then we'll tuck that tailbone under, rolling our spine forward, walking our knees in, flipping our toes, coming to our toe stand. So we're up on our toes, thighs are parallel to the ground. You can fan out those pinky toes if you need to. Otherwise, just staying stable here. And we're gonna bring our hands in and cycle them in towards our chest with our breath, balancing on those toes. And then next time we bring the hands in, we'll leave them there and we'll press nice and slowly, coming up to stand, lowering our heels to the mat. We'll inhale, our hands come up, big stretch, crossing the thumbs, reaching up towards the sky. And then we'll exhale, go up and over the right hip, keeping our left hip pressed towards our feet as we round, coming into a big side bend. And then we'll inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale over to the left side. So grounding down into that right foot. Nice stretch up from the right side of the body. And then we'll inhale, come up. And then we'll exhale, sit down into our chair, arms cactus to the side. So knees bent, hips back, back straight, ribs pulled in. And we'll inhale, lift and open. And then we'll exhale, pivot from the elbows, hands come down, rounding through the spine. And we'll inhale, lift and open. And exhale, round through the spine. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round forward. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, round. This time as we round, we're going to straighten our legs and dive on forward, letting the arms dangle. Big breath. And then we'll tuck our tailbone under, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Coming all the way up to stand. We inhale, our arms come up. And then we'll exhale, hands to forehead, hinging at the hips, chest leads, forward fold. Release the hands down to the mat. We're going to do that again. So tucking the tailbone under, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. We inhale, arms come up. And exhale, hands to forehead, leading with the chest, hinging at the hips, forward fold. And we'll stay here, trace our fingers in a figure eight, side to side on the mat, letting blood fill up your head in all the good ways. So breathing deeply here. And then we'll plant our hands down onto the floor, stepping back one leg at a time, coming back into our downward facing dog, giving our hips a wiggle here. So swaying, you wish you had a monkey tail side to side. And then we'll look up between our hands, lifting our right leg up into the air. We'll cross, bend our knees, step it forward, our right knee to our right wrist as we cross the mat with our shin coming into our pigeon pose. So that right shin is across the mat as much as we can get it, foot is flat. Our back leg is nice and long, walking that knee back so that we're sitting low. Our fingertips are tented outside of our mat, and we're gonna zigzag side to side with our chest, going slowly down and back up and down and back up. We're gonna turn that side to side zigzag into a wave movement forward and back. We're gonna do that 2 more times before we lower our forearms down on the mat, staying here for our pigeon for 3 deep, deep breaths. Starting now. And on the end of the 3rd breath, we're gonna walk our hands underneath of our chest, coming out nice and slow, sitting onto that right hip. We bring that left leg, cross it on top for fire log pose. So ankle over knee, knee over ankle. One day our shins maybe will come parallel to one another. Doesn't look like today's that day for me, but we're gonna sit nice and tall, chin tucked. We're letting our shoulders relax down our spine, and we're breathing. We're breathing into our chest, into our ribs, into our belly, and we're exhaling from our belly, from our ribs, and from our chest. Keep breathing, thinking zip down, zip up. We're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1, and inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. We're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to take that left leg, uncross it from our right shin and lay it on our mat, across the mat, taking that right leg, pulling it in and unrolling it as you need to, switching it back and coming up onto our shin and our knees for our pigeon pose on the other side. So back leg is nice and long, toes are pointed, left toes are flexed towards the shin, nice and tall here, tenting the fingertips on the outside of the mat. We zigzag side to side, down to the ground, and we zigzag all the way back up. And back up again. And we'll move into a wave. So undulating the spine. I like that word, undulation. Pretty sure it means flowy movement, hopefully. Maybe let's look it up. Flowy movements, undulations, forward and back. And then we'll slowly come down into our fullest expression of pigeon, making our way into a place where we can rest into the stretch. And we breathe. We breathe here. 3 deep breaths in your own space. And then on the end of your third exhale, set an intention to slowly begin rolling onto that left glute, left hip side as you bring your right leg around and fold it on top of your left, coming back into that fire log pose. This side might be very different than the other side. It'll just give you an insight into which hip might be tighter than the other one, and we'll sit up nice and tall and we'll come back to that breath. Closing our lips, inhaling through the nose, filling up the chest, filling up the ribs, filling up the belly, exhaling from the belly, from the ribs, and from the chest. We'll inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Eyes closed, body relaxed, breathing normally at the top of our mat. We'll slowly uncross our knees, bringing our knees in towards our chest, but our feet are flat on the ground, bringing our hands into prayer. We'll sit back so our torso is 45 degrees to the earth, and gentle twist side to side as we lower our torso down all the way onto the mat, pulling our knees into our chest, head rests on the ground. Neck is long, chin is slightly tucked, and we'll draw a nice big circle with our knees, massaging out those upper glutes. And circle back the other way. Keeping our chin tucked, we'll tuck our shoulders underneath. Planting our hands down underneath of our body, we'll pull our knees in towards our chest, coming into a shoulder stand, using your hands to support your low back. Your feet are up in the air, and we'll hold it straight. And then we'll remember that we don't really like boxes. So I encourage you to start to play with your legs. I always like to say that this is where I imagine that I'm the most graceful synchronized swimmer that ever existed. And I encourage you to do something similar, just moving your legs around in a way that feels fun and explorative. Bending, cycling, you can pedal a bike, you can swim like a frog, you can twist your hips side to side. Just make sure you keep your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then if you want to, you can come into full plow after reaching your hands down towards the mat, knees towards the nose, toes towards the floor above your head. Keep breathing. And then planting your hands into the mat, keeping your legs close to your body, rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Bringing your feet down nice and close to your bum. As you press into the earth, lifting your hips up off of the ground, keeping your knees squeezed together. And then lowering your hips back down to the mat, straighten your legs one at a time, point through your toes, rocking your hips side to side, tuck your hands, palms down underneath of your body, underneath of your bum, pressing your elbows into the mat. We'll inhale, lift our chest up, let our head fall back, coming into fish. And then we'll lift our chin up towards our throat, lift our chest, elbows come wide, rolling down one vertebrae at a time into the mat, bringing the left knee in towards the chest, right arm on the outside of the left knee, left arm out to the side, cross the body with the left knee, coming into one last twist. Then we'll bring that left knee back to the chest and straighten it down, bringing the right knee in, left hand on the outside of the right knee, right hand to the side, crossing the body. Be mindful of your breath still on purpose. Nice full breaths, inhaling into the belly and exhaling from the belly. And then we'll untwist that left leg. Keep putting your feet down underneath your bum. Lift your hips up one last time and lower one vertebrae at a time as you unroll yourself completely. Laying down, legs wide, arms wide, taking up space here, grabbing a blanket or a pillow if you need. Coming into a place of being comfortable and taking 3 last conscious breaths. Before you let yourself completely surrender letting go of your need to control your breath, and just letting yourself stay in Shavasana, in your corpse pose, allowing yourself to be right where you are. Allowing yourself to ignore sounds that might be trying to distract you. And rather than controlling your breath, just observing it, watching it flow in and out. Nice and slowly, without any sense of urgency, begin wiggling your fingers and your toes, and rocking your eyes side to side behind your closed lids. And slowly taking your hands overhead, taking a nice big stretch. And then rolling onto your right or your left side. And slowly pressing yourself up back to a seated position. Move those fleshy bits out of the way so you can connect to the earth. And sitting up nice and tall with your eyes remaining closed, taking a moment to scan your body and feeling the difference now. Breathing here. Being okay with what you meet. Knowing some days I am a goddess. Some days I am a wild child. And some days I am a bit of a fragile mess. But most days I am all three. Every day, though, I am here and I am trying. And all together, we'll raise our arms with our breath, inhaling, arms come up to the sky. Pausing here for exaltation for your day, for this life, for your breath, for your body. And on the next exhale, we'll bring our hands down to our forehead where we pause here for a full breath, where we always remember to think kind thoughts. We'll fill ourselves with breath. And exhale, bringing our hands down to our lips, where we remember to speak kind words. And one last time all together for this practice, we'll fill ourselves with breath and bring our hands to our heart, where we always remember to do kind things. Thank you for rolling out your mat and joining me for your practice today. Hope you're nice and wiggled, maybe a little lubricated. I see you. Namaste.